Bum, 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 wow, wow. Yeah, I was on The Price is Right. No, I actually wasn't on The Price is Right. I was, well, here's my hand giving a high five to the guy that actually did get caught up. This hand is now forever famous. Well, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to just kind of talk through my Price is Right experience. I went actually a year ago to see a live taping of The Price is Right. The real Price is Right that's filmed in Hollywood in the CBS Studios, seeing Drew Carey in person, George Gray and everybody else, and watching everybody else walk away with money while I just walked away. So if you're interested in checking out The Price is Right for yourself, yes, you get to keep your awesome price tag, name tag. You get to keep this, right here it is. But if you're interested in understanding what this process is all about, what it's like to go and see a taping of The Price is Right, that's what I'm taking you through today on the channel. So, hey, by the way, if you're not a subscriber yet, hit that button. Make yourself part of the Sweet Life family today. Yeah, a year ago we decided, we were taking a trip out to LA, and part of that experience was I wanted to go check out The Price is Right. I wanted to go see what it was all about. And yes, secretly I kind of wanted to get caught up. Typically Price is Right is on every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS, and it takes about an hour. It's an hour-long game show, but guess how long you're gonna commit to going through this process? 5 whole hours. You're gonna be sitting and going through all this process, and then in the very final hour is when you actually get to view the taping of The Price is Right. So here's a few key tips. Now, okay, we decided we were gonna wake up. It was, I think we had to be there right around 9 a.m. So we woke up from the hotel, we drove down to where the CBS Studios are. There's a very nice place to park, parking garage. I think it was like 20 bucks for the day or something like that. But anyway, we parked there and we walked down, and the original idea was gonna be, let's get like a breakfast, let's try to eat before we go in there. And then all of a sudden, I think we were either running behind or we were excited or something was going on, and we thought, well, maybe they have food inside The Price is Right. So let's just wait until we get in there. We don't want to be late. We want to be like the first there and show our energy, show our excitement, and maybe they'll pick us to come on down. But I will tell you, halfway there, so you kind of come down from the garage, you go down this long, narrow pathway, you hook a right, and then you go down to the main gate that lets you into the CBS Studios. Well, halfway through that, I realized I still have my Apple Watch on. And I remember them saying you cannot take any type of electronic device into the studio. What I later found out is they do collect all that stuff. So if you bring a phone or a watch or something like that, they will typically collect that from you and keep that until the taping of the show is over. So about halfway through the process, they start taking all your stuff away from you. And you basically walk into the studio like it's 1993 and you don't have anything on you at all. It was a little bit of a sketchy toss-up. Are they gonna actually let you into the studio grounds with the Apple Watch? They may just turn you away and not even collect that. So I'm like, you know what, crap. And then I saw a bunch of other people coming back and they're like, yeah, we gotta take our Fitbits. And I'm like, oh, screw it. So I walked all the way back to put the Apple Watch in the car for the day. All of those steps, all of those moverings, not counted for in these 5 hours that I committed to The Price is Right. That was a tough day. If you want to get tickets, if you're going to the LA area and once the crazy 2020 goes away and they start taping Price is Right again, all you have to do is go to this very simple website. I'll link it down below in the description if you want to check it out. You can get free tickets, and not only free tickets, it guarantees you a seat to see the performance. So you don't have to sit there and worry about the fact, am I actually going to get in? There's a lot of process behind this. No, just go to oncameraaudience.com. Check it out for yourself. It's free. That's what we did. And we secured our slot for that 9 a.m. time. And then we look over and I'm like, okay, there's a snack bar. I am so hungry because I didn't eat breakfast. And then all of a sudden we walk up there and it's like cash only. Oh God, I didn't have any cash. What is going on here? It's like, it was 2019 at the time. Why do we need cash? Oh my God. But then there's another shop over there once you get through all this. So maybe we can check that out. Anyway, so we go through and they ask about ourselves. We have to show our ID and everything like that. And that's when you get your name tag. So they'll basically write your name and it is your legal name. So if you got some crazy name, you are gonna get whatever is on your driver's license. So obviously I go by Bob, but Robert was my name for the day because they will take what, so if your name is like something completely different, you're gonna have to deal with whatever your legal name is on that driver's license. So just be warned. But then you get to stick this right on here, super cool. You feel like, oh my gosh, this is legit. I got the Price is Right price tag, name tag. This is getting real. And then you line up in this long line for pictures because they want to sell you something. You can't get away with this without spending some money. So they have this thing where you go up and it's a green screen. Hey, you do a little bit of a stance and then they make it look like you're in front of the big wheel that you spin. So, and then finally, you got to this little shop. And I'm like, okay, maybe they have food here. They had a lot of Price is Right shirts and all this other kind of cool stuff, a lot of cool merchandise. And they had Nutri-Grain bars. And I'm like, oh God. So we bought like 2 of them and that was our breakfast for the day. Let me just tell you, by the end of the 5 hours, we were ready to I was so hungry. I've never been more hangry in my life after those 5 hours. But anyway, so through this process, then you go into these long rows of benches and they give you a number and you just sit there and you get to know people around you, you're talking, you're hanging out, you're having a good time. The reason you have that number on the bottom of your Price is Right name tag is they're judging you. In fact, I've heard they judge you from the moment you set foot onto the studio property. They got cameras all over the place watching you. And so what they do is they're making sure that you have that energy they're looking for, that passion, that kind of sense of skill that will give them good ratings in the show. They don't want to put somebody up there that's going to be like, oh, I want a new car. All right, well, probably a lot of taxes I got to pay on that. Oh, man, those California taxes are pretty high too. No, they don't want somebody like that. They want somebody that's going to run all over the place, hug Drew, tackle him, go nuts, do backflips and all kinds of weird stuff. Because that's what drives people to view the videos, right? So that's what they're watching for the whole time. So if you go over there, you got to remember that you're going to be watched through the entire process. But you're in these long rows after you take your picture and all that other crap, and really they're just watching you. But what you're truly waiting on is after you get through this, they call people down in clumps of about 10 to 20 people, and you stand in front of the producers. Now, this is where they start asking you questions, and they go through and talk to each and every individual. And they ask you a simple question, and they want to see how you're responding to that question. Not only are they seeing how you respond, they're looking at how you look, what your deal is, and what's going on. So, this is where you can really shine. One cool thing is you do get to keep your phone during this entire thing, and I think that's important because a lot of people are saying, oh my gosh, it's not 1993 anymore. I need my phone to survive. I need to watch more of Bob Sharp's YouTube videos. I can't go 5 hours. I appreciate that. Make sure you see more of these. Smash that like button down below because then more people will see this video. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, so, I get up to the guy, to the producer, and I am very tall, by the way. I am 6'7", if you haven't noticed. 6'7", and so I stick out like a sore thumb, and I'm walking up, and he immediately looks at me. And then once he gets to me, he's like, I saw you coming from the beginning. And he starts having this kind of cool interaction with me. And the guy that was next to me that I got to know during this process, he said, he spent a lot of time with you. I bet you're going to get called up. Well, of course, immediately my hopes go up to the sky. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I'll win a huge car. Maybe I'll win a vacation. Maybe, oh my God, $25,000. Maybe I'll do Plinko. And I start getting all freaked out and excited. Well, long story short, as you have figured out in the beginning of this video, I didn't get called up, but I know why. There are a few theories that I hold based on some things I've watched, even some other YouTube videos of people that have been called up, and the big difference here. The very first thing I did during this period of time with the producer, I showed energy, but not enough. Because I think I was starting to freak out. In fact, there was somebody right down below me that was like, man, their energy was on a high 10. But you also got to remember, I was hungry, and I'm like, shit, I should have really ate something. Because my energy that I need is not there because I'm hungry. So I'm all focused on other things at the moment. And then I'm starting to freak out. Well, if I drink enough water or drink too much water, I'm going to have to pee. And I got to pee really bad in the middle of the taping. That's going to feel uncomfortable. And I'm thinking about all the most random stuff. So I'm like, damn. Well, anyway, so he gets to me and I'm just not showing, I don't think, enough passion, even though we had a good interaction and it was longer than some others. But I think that was the other key. Number 2, and this is just me personally, I think my wardrobe was not really on point. So I had this blue shirt on and I figured, well, blue pops. But I also wore my glasses that day. And I'm like, I think I should have just went without the glasses, done the contacts. And I think I should have done a Price is Right t-shirt that popped a little bit more. Because I was kind of this kind of a basic dude, I think that actually makes a big difference. So my tip would be, make sure you eat, make sure you have enough energy, make sure you show your passion when you're talking to the person because that's what they want, and look appropriate. If you have to have glasses, that's fine, but make sure maybe you have some branded merchandise or something cool, not just your typical run-of-the-mill blah. That's how I felt I was that day, and I'm like, Darn it. So I am actually planning to go back and try this thing again. And if I do, I will update a video whenever I decide to get back to LA and go through the Price is Right experience again. And I'll let you know if I get selected or not. You go through that and then you go around and guess what? You gotta give up your phone and then sit on another long bench for a long period of time. Now keep in mind, everything that I've detailed so far, this adds up to about 4 hours of your life. All of this sitting around, waiting for the producers, waiting for the next step, waiting and going down here, it is a long period of time. So don't forget that. Now, there are bathrooms right at the last bench, and I would recommend you use them quite a few times if you need to, because once it's all done, once you pass this point of the second bench, you go upstairs. When you go upstairs, you get to go in to the Price is Right studio. And guess what? The doors get locked and you're stuck in there for an entire hour. So make sure you're feeling good while you're in there watching the taping. Don't feel like you have to pee and all this other stuff. That would suck. And they're continuing to watch your butt. And this is another thing I think I kind of failed on, because I just kind of sat there, now even more hungry than I was before, watching all the videos, and I'm like, oh man, like, you know, I wasn't clapping and getting excited with the videos and like interacting with people as much as I should have. And I think those are key tips, because I did notice there were cameras up all over the place and they were watching us. Because what could happen is you have a great interview with a producer, and let's say you're on the A list and you screw this part up, they might cut you from the list. I have heard that they've cut people from the list right up to the actual taping of the episode. You could be inside the studio and all of a sudden you look like a clown and they cut you from it. That can happen. Make sure you keep that energy on a high throughout the entire thing. Based on my learning, based on my failure of not getting called up. You get to go upstairs then, you get to go down in, and what a beautiful, I mean, as everybody warned me, the studio is a lot smaller than you think it is. I mean, they do such a good job with camera angles on the Price is Right show that you think it's such a big thing, but you go in there and you're like, wow, this thing is small, and whatever. But anyway, so what they do is there's these hosts and hostesses, and they walk you around and they sit you down on where they want you to sit. And I thought that was interesting. They sit people in very strategic locations for, I think, a lot of different reasons, because they're also making sure that as they call people down, it's not like everybody from the same section. So they want to make sure that there's some visuals behind people that are getting called on down. So that made a lot of sense. Well, I get stuck in probably one of the worst spots. I really didn't like it. No offense to George Gray, because I think that guy's awesome, but I got stuck right behind him. And the issue with that is you can't really see the stage too well because he's standing right there. And so George Gray is right there, and you're trying to look at what's going on, and it's very difficult to see all the different things going on. Because not only do you have him, you have a lot of cameras all over the place filming the episode. So my issue with that was I couldn't see, okay, well, wait a minute, I can't, where's Drew at? Where's the contestant at? What are they even saying? Because that's another thing, they don't have the audio very loud because they're trying to capture it for the actual episode for TV. So in the audience, you're not hearing much. In fact, I was stuck behind George, right, like I said, and the game was like right behind him. So I couldn't see what the game was. And all of a sudden, they're trying to yell at us like, how much should the person bid? What do you think? And I'm like, I don't even know what the product is because I can't even see it. So that was kind of weird. I bet if I sat in the middle, you'd probably hear and probably see a lot better than the people that are kind of shafted over to the right or the left of the studio. But in any case, I thought it was interesting that they're yelling, hey, well, what do you think? What do you think they should bid? Do you think it should $1, $5? And I'm like, beats the hell out of me. I don't even know what the product is. They do hold cue cards up. And so when George Gray says your name, because of course you want him to say your name to come on down, it's not like you can actually hear that. So they have a person up on the stage and you can't see them when you're actually watching the episode on TV, but they hold up a big cue card with the name of the person that they're calling down. We're all looking, darn, that's not my name. Because that's how you have to know if you can come on down. It's not so much actually listening to him. I was right behind the dude and couldn't even hear him. Right behind the guy that was announcing who to come on down, and I couldn't even hear who was coming on down. So yeah, they actually rely a lot on making sure that you're looking at that cue card, and if you see your name pop up, then you get to go nuts and clap and high five everybody and fall and trip down the lane and go yourself up to contestants row. That's how you know that you can get called up. So I thought that was interesting as well. But all in all, I would say this was a cool experience, and yes, I want my revenge. I'm going to go back. And I'm gonna take all the tips that I shared with you today, and my goal will be, and I gotta, I guess, announce, maybe subscribe, and then sometime on the community tab, I will let you guys know whenever I plan a trip back to LA. It probably won't be until next year, or maybe even the year after. Hoping for next year though, where we'll go back, we'll give another plug to the 5 hours of commitment it takes for The Price is Right, and see if I can apply all the things that I've learned from round 1 to maybe get caught on up for round 2. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So after all that is done, of course, you get to leave. It was cool because the way we got to exit, you get to actually walk up to contestants row and walk all the way down. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, this is how the contestants can actually hear what's going on. So on the back of the contestants row, there's these huge speakers that are pointed at the contestants so they can actually hear Drew, unlike all of us in the studio audience. So that was that made a lot more sense, but it was cool to be able to walk up there and actually be like, yeah, here we are. We're actually up here, even though it's not for real. So are you gonna be in LA? Are you gonna be in the CBS studio or near the CBS studio? Make sure you go to that website, again, linked in the description below, and sign yourself up for the free tickets so you can check out the taping of The Price is Right yourself. Now, if you're somebody that does not want to be called up, you can actually say, hey, I'm just here to experience it. I don't want to be called up. It's not my thing. They'll actually put an X on your contestant card. That way they know this person's off limits. No matter how cool they seem, don't call them up. So just in case you're worried about that, there is an option. Just let them know that you need to opt out. Well, I hope you enjoyed story time today. I figured it'd be kind of a fun video to do, just documenting what has been now officially a year since we've done this experience, and hopefully next year we'll get to say we do it all over again. And I'll make sure I update you guys here live on the channel. So other than that, continue to live your sweet life because you're worth it. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.